Good evening. This is a foreigner in the Philippines. Welcome. So I thought I'd give you an update on the vasectomy effects, the after effects of the surgery, for those several people who were interested in finding out for themselves and intend to go for this procedure themselves. So I had my procedure done in Manila. It was done by a surgeon of some great experience, 20 years. His information is available if you really need it, are really interested. I'd be happy to give you all of that, no point in going into it again. But the procedure itself was no great pleasure, of course. What surgical procedure is a pleasure. It wasn't, but it was carefully handled. I felt very confident all the time. Afterwards, there was a recovery period, let's say a period in which you can stop peeing and actually stand on your feet without falling over. But you get taken out to the taxi in a wheelchair, make no mistake. After that, well, you have to be very careful. You have to make sure that you don't do any lifting. Now, I'm as gung-ho as the next guy when I come to believing in my own infallibility and immortality. Like a lot of guys, I have thought at times that I'm bulletproof, only to discover that I'm far from being bulletproof, and especially with the oncoming age. So, what I read up before I had this procedure was about a couple that went for it. I don't know exactly where they first saw their first doctor, their first surgeon, but because of the man's age, combination of age and the duration since he had had the operation in the first place, the vasectomy, the first surgeon said he wasn't comfortable in doing it. So they found another surgeon, and this was a group, I believe in Pontefract, who didn't believe in giving up and saying it won't work. So they went ahead, they did the operation. The man obviously had to meet all of the requirements that I had to meet, and he was back in action, doing the deed in 3 weeks. He conceived, his wife conceived a child in 2.5 months, which I thought was pretty amazing. Well done, sir. Well, how is it going for me? Well, I had the operation on the 29th of last month. So where are we right now? So we're looking at the 2 weeks. We're 2 weeks into the recovery period. Now, because I live up in the mountains and we have a very difficult bumpy ride up in a 4-wheel truck, the doctor advised that I didn't do that. So I am on virtual house arrest, although I have been walking. I don't do any lifting at all. My wife absolutely will not hear of me lifting a bag of anything. So I haven't done any lifting at all, but I have done some walking. I've walked down that same path which is so very difficult. I've walked that a few times now. We're looking at 2 weeks. So what's the effect? In the first week you have to take a number of drugs, antibiotics, a cocktail of stuff that you have to take. I'm not a lover of that. I don't respond to it very well, but you're in their hands. So unless you want to be totally stupid and throw the money out of the window, then you do as you're told. The cost, by the way, with that particular doctor at that particular hospital was 140,000 pesos, which actually is a pretty good deal from all accounts. So that, and with PhilHealth we actually got I think about 9, I'm not good on these figures, but I think about 9 or 10,000 was paid for us on the hospital bills. So we got a break on that. Now, we had big expenses in going to Manila. We live on Bohol, so that was a trial. But we went by boat rather than plane. But we did take the aircraft coming back, as I was feeling tender, to say the least. So, how does it feel afterwards? Well, you are definitely feeling tender, that's for sure. And you're required, advised by the doctor, to wear a sports support so that your bits and pieces are being held firmly in place. That I do, I wear that all the time, and I anticipate that I've been advised to take things extremely easy for 6 weeks. No driving, definitely no driving that rocky road up to our house in the mountains. So for 6 weeks life becomes very inconvenient, that's for sure. Now, what's the effect of the cocktail of drugs that you take? You take antibiotics, and I think you take some vitamins, I'm not quite sure. I just did as I was told. So, you also need some painkillers, because it is painful at first. What you've had is that sac has been opened, and there's been cutting, stitching, putting back together. So you've got some, on the inside you have some healing that's going on, and you're going to have some scar tissue forming. On the outside you get 2 different incisions are made, one on each side of the testicles, without getting too graphic about it. One of those incisions was bigger than the other. Apparently they, instead of rejoining, reconnecting the tubes on either side of that sac which produces the sperm, one of them needed to be cut out, and they attached one of the tubes right into the sac itself. So obviously everyone is different. Some will have responded in different ways to the vasectomy in the first place. Others will have responded very well. Others will not have had such a great length of time since the operation was done. Mine was over 20 years, and I'm over 70. So everything is dependent on what they find when they go in. Having gone in, they do the job. It's regarded as being successful until it's proved otherwise. But you're going to be 6 weeks. I was told 6 weeks, no action. So we're not going to be out there putting great pressure on those incredibly thin tubes. The actual diameter of those tubes is staggering, and they have to do the operation under a microscope, and it's very, very highly skilled. So all of that done, I am now in the recovery period and have another 4 weeks to go. How did I respond? I don't think I respond very well to antibiotics. They actually make me feel, I get bouts of dizziness, and my balance goes. And I had that the same again. So you may not respond to these things in the same way that I do. As I say, everybody is different. But nothing so unpleasant. I take things easy. I have a family around me that absolutely will not let me do anything at all that will jeopardize the eventual success of the operation, which is to conceive a child. We won't go into the rights and wrongs of that. Everybody has their opinion on that, and this being my life, I reserve the right to have my opinion. My wife feels the same, and we take a lot of flack, and so what? So what complicated things for me was that while I was over there, maybe it was the air conditioning in the boat or the plane, I caught a really bad cough and a cold, which I am just getting over now. We got in touch with the surgeon, and we were a little bit worried about that. The heavy coughing that I was doing might be affecting things down below. you know what they say, one of our subs said, take things easy and don't cough. So we got in touch with the surgeon and we asked him, is there any problem? And he said, no, there's not. And he gave me a couple of recommendations of the drugs that I should take in order to get over the cough. So that was what happened there, and everything seems to be healing. Without seeming facetious or comical, I can now cross my legs. Doing the splits and attempting the hurdles might be a little bit down the road, but I think that things are going pretty well. So I'll give you an update in another couple of weeks. There's nothing much. It's very, what shall I say, extremely boring waiting for this healing to go, and nothing to do but just wait. But you just take things easy, you walk slow. You'd be very careful about a fall. That's because when you fall and you try and save yourself, then that's going to put extreme pressure on the legs, and then going up into the area that you really want to take great care with. So you just be sensible. So that's it for now. That's the update, the work in progress on the vasectomy. Good luck to those who are considering this procedure. I would say yes, go. My experience has been that any pain that was involved was certainly well worth it. I think I am confident, I am optimistic that everything will be fine, and so we will see. Of course, that's the final test, is that time will tell. So, a foreigner in the Philippines, thanks for looking in. I hope this helps those who are considering having this procedure. Bye for now.